Joining us now from Miami is Trump senior advisor, AJ Delgado. AJ, good to have you with me.
Thanks so much. Great to be with you.
So were you able to hear those remarks and how the deposition and Donald Trump's reaction to those questions were posed? What's your reaction?
Somewhat. I couldn't hear the audio very well of the clips. It sounded like it was clips from his deposition. My reaction is I'm not sure how this is news or breaking news. There were very short answers, very standard ones regarding an issue that has long already been disposed of, going back to his remarks from June. I'm not sure how this is breaking news. If you'd like to ask me a specific angle on it, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, the fact that he was asked about having prepared any of the remarks in his initial declaration of wanting to run for president, and those statements that he made about Mexicans sending their rapists and criminals, he said, no, I really didn't prepare those remarks.
Well, doesn't this go to the heart of Donald Trump's appeal? I would rather hear he didn't prepare remarks rather than he did. This is part of why voters love Donald Trump, as he speaks to us directly versus an overly rehearsed, almost robotic Hillary Clinton, who I think runs everything by staffers and focus groups before even daring to issue one statement. So I think this only underscores.
But that would just say that, you know, does this just prove that Donald Trump doesn't actually use facts to make points? That he came down the stairs and made a broad sweeping generalization about all Mexicans, didn't think about any collateral damage to what it may have to his businesses or those folks that work for him, or even his presidential campaign. Does it go to speak to lack of preparation?
But Thomas, with all due respect, how is it possible that over a year later we're still hearing the media repeat the lie, if I may, that Mr. Trump made a broad generalization as to all Mexicans? Please, for the 1000th time, go back and look at what he actually said. He never insulted all Mexicans, not even all Mexican immigrants, in that initial candidacy speech. There was a fantastic article written in December of 2015 by a Bernie Sanders supporting Puerto Rican professor named Alberto Martinez. It's still up on Salon, and he defends Mr. Trump against this vicious lie that he insulted all Mexicans or Mexican immigrants. I highly urge your viewers to Google it and take a read.
So, AJ, he did lead off with the statement about the criminality of Mexicans and Mexico sending us their worst, and he said, and some are good people too.
And he also said that the criminals came from all areas, various continents, but you never hear the media repeat that bit. He wasn't speaking about Mexico. Obviously, we know that the folks who come through the Mexican border are not strictly Mexicans. So let's always try to talk about it in context and have the full statement, not just cherry pick.
No, absolutely. That's why I said, and some are good too. AJ, stand by for me. Ari Melber is here on set with me and wanted to ask you a question as well.
Yeah, I was just wondering what you thought. In terms of the deposition, the other interesting part is it seems like a quieter, dare I say, more gentle Donald Trump in the video. It certainly seems a little different than what we see out on the stage. And so I'm just curious more on a personal level, because voters are assessing these candidates in all of their iterations. What did you think? Is that a Donald Trump you recognize? Is that a more quiet or even, I would say, respectful Trump that you might see in different settings? Or does it all look the same to you?
I think, like all of us, he does have different sides to him, right? We all have that. And I think it's great that Mr. Trump was a bit more somber in a deposition, as would be expected. And in a rally, he's a bit more vivacious and loud and a bit more fun. So, yeah, that's a side that we all have. I think it depends on the situation. We rarely see the media discuss the somber, responsible, highly intellectual side of Donald Trump. And there are many sides to him, all of which are pretty darn impressive, I could tell you, having been around him. So
would you like to see that side of him out more on the campaign trail?
Personally, I like a little bit more of the vivacious one. I think as a voter, not so much as an advisor, I think it's great to see when he comes out swinging and he's the fighter and the brawler that America has grown to love. I personally love that side.
AJ, it's interesting you say that, because I've had experiences with Donald Trump, and I know him in a completely different way. And that's why, as a journalist now, I wonder which person is actually the real Donald Trump, because the person that we do see at rallies is not the same person that I've known behind the scenes, or maybe even the same man that we're looking at in that deposition, or the person that you say that you've also met behind the scenes. It's as if they're almost two different people.
Well, sadly, we only tend to see one side of Hillary Clinton, right? And that's a very rehearsed, like I said earlier, very robotic politician who's been a politician for 30 years. This is why 70%, nearly 70% of the American public says they can't trust Hillary Clinton. I think it's because we don't know her. Let's remember she hid from the press pretty much for about 9 months. I'd rather see many sides of Donald Trump than only one overly rehearsed robotic side of a 30-year-long politician named Hillary Clinton.
But now we know, and Hillary Clinton is doing more with press avail, and Donald Trump is not taking invitations from the press other than, say, Fox and Friends or Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly. And the only thing that we have to go off now is looking at a Twitter feed. And I want to get your response to what he did overnight via Twitter, attacking Alicia Machado, accusing her of a sex tape that doesn't exist, also going after Hillary Clinton for having bad judgment because of discussing Alicia Machado. Does this prove Clinton's point about temperament? How does he look like he has a proper temperament that she accused him of not having if he's willing to do this between 3 and 6 a.m.?
I think what this proves is the ongoing pattern we've seen this entire year with Donald Trump, where the media picks up on a story, hammers Mr. Trump over the head with it, taking it out of context. For instance, I saw the media all week report the allegations that Ms. Machado made that he had apparently referred to her as Miss Piggy and Miss Housekeeping. You all reported that as fact. I rarely saw any journalist say, well, this is what she claims. We don't know if it's true.
Well,
you hammered him with it all week.
We had a sit-down interview with her. We had a sit-down interview with her, Natalie Morales, where we discussed this. Now, the Trump campaign and Mr. Trump, they deny these allegations, but Alicia Machado herself says that this is the case. So, as a Latina, as a woman who has Cuban immigrant parents, who's now advising Donald Trump, have you had an opportunity to talk to him about this? This hurts his impression with those that might be interested in voting for him, and what this means going forward.
I haven't had a chance to discuss it with him in particular, but I will tell you this. As a Latina, I find Mr. Trump to be empowering, and I'm quite frankly embarrassed by Ms. Machado. I think Mr. Trump is a role model to Latino Americans who care about jobs and the economy and success. And I don't see the need for us to even be discussing Ms. Machado. I don't find her to be a role model. She's not somebody respected in our community. And I wish we could get back to discussing the real issues. I think that's what Mr. Trump has been trying to do, but the media won't let this story die. So he hits back, and now the media says, well, oh, look, he's defending himself.
We would not be
How
talking
horrible.
about this story if Donald Trump didn't pick up an iPhone or a device in the middle of the night to allege that the former Miss Universe had a sex tape.
Thomas, you've been talking about it all week. The media has been talking about it all week.
That's because he got up the morning after the debate and attacked her on Fox and Friends unsolicited. So, AJ, if you are advising him and then went on to...
He did not attack her on Fox and Friends. He did not. He said that she had gained weight, and that is fact.
He doubled down on that, calling her the worst.
That she had gained weight.
Calling her the worst.
That she had gained weight.
No. But
the worst
facts
Miss Universe they'd ever had, which she is.
The facts are,
what other Miss Universe has been caught having sex on a reality show? She has been the worst Miss Universe that there is. I think that's a pretty objective statement.
We don't have evidence of that, and she has refuted that in an Instagram post today. She has refuted that happened in an Instagram post today. But when it comes to how this is being drummed up and discussed, it's happening because Donald Trump continues to kind of poke the bear on defending himself about this issue. And you were with him in Little Havana. I would think that you would have taken the time to discuss this and how this probably isn't helpful to the campaign, but you didn't take that time?
No, because we're too busy discussing the real issues that Latino voters, including Latinas like myself, care about. Jobs, the economy, trade, his great child care and maternity leave policy. That's what Latina voters are going to care about on November 8th, Thomas, and during early voting. Not this media sensationalist-driven silliness about Ms. Machado and this victimhood that you're trying to create, I don't mean you personally, but the media, with Hillary Clinton, trying to create this woman as a victim when really you look at the facts and at her history, she apparently threatened to kill or have killed a federal judge in Venezuela.
No, that's not true either. That is not true either, and she was never charged with anything. That is not true,
but we're saying the judge lied.
You're
saying the judge lied.
So, AJ, I'm going to have to cut it off there. What you're saying is not true.
You're saying the judge lied. Okay.
I'm saying that this woman was never charged, AJ, and unless you're saying...
the judge lied.
Basically,
The judge
if the
says
judge,
that she threatened him on a voicemail, and you're
AJ,
saying the judge lied.
if
Okay.
they were going to bring
Okay.
charges, I don't know what the judicial system was, but they didn't bring charges. So can you admit the woman
Fair
was never
enough.
charged? The woman was never
That she was
charged,
never
AJ,
charged?
correct?
Yes. Can you admit that a judge said that she threatened to have him killed?
AJ, I do not know the details of the case. What I do know is judicially,
Well, you can
she
look it up.
wasn't processed. So instead of charging people to be guilty when they're not, which is what we'd like to do in America, let's move on from this. AJ, thanks so much.
Okay.
AJ Delgado, Senior
Thanks,
Advisor to the
Thomas.
Trump-Pence campaign. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.